guys, I know I already posted a video this week, but something caught my attention and I was told some things after I made my video last time that I really wanted to get out to you. Um, I've been hearing so much about crimes committed, like Asian on Asian crime, I guess is what we're calling it, right? And I think any offense against anyone, whether it's like white on Asian, black on Asian, or like white on black or Asian on black, it doesn't matter. It's horrible and it shouldn't be tolerated. But, as an immigrant, I remember being really little and coming here and coming from a place where everybody looked like me, and then moving to America where it felt like nobody looked like me. And so I would kind of rely on the help of people who looked like me to get around or, just to feel comfortable. And it's not necessarily a form of, I don't think it's racism because it wasn't about that for me. It was that I was in a culture that I wasn't used to, and there was this culture shock that I wasn't prepared for. And I was really, really very little. I was like 4 years old. So, there's that. And I was told by an Indonesian news source that there's been some situations with there is this situation with 12 student pilots that had paid $30,000 each and was told they would be given room, board, and that would cover tuition. Now, yes, I know. As Americans, we understand that no way could $30,000 cover 4 years of room, board, and tuition for pilot school. But we're talking about people who are coming from Indonesia, and we're not talking about like big cities in Indonesia. We're talking about little towns, little villages, and where $30,000 is probably their entire family's life savings. And they were told they were going to be supplied room, board, and tuition. This agency that had set them up with this, basically the agent disappeared with their money and left them hanging out to dry. And they were given I-20s initially, which is why they were allowed in the country. However, the agent didn't pay the pilot school the full amount. So obviously they couldn't go to school without paying tuition, and their I-20s expired and they're out of status and they're going to be deported. Now, the problem with this is that they have no other options. They have nothing. If they go back, they have nothing. They stay here, they have nothing. So they really have nothing to lose. So they're trying to fight it so that they have the opportunity to stay and to go to school so that they can make something out of nothing, which I think we can all appreciate. What's so horrible about this is that it's a fellow Indonesian conning another, other fellow Indonesians. And what's furthermore, it's not like, a Robin Hood situation where he's stealing from the rich to give to the poor. He's stealing from the poor, the people that are already destitute, the people that are already, got their backs against the wall, and this was their only way out. And he exploited their hopes of coming to America and fulfilling the American dream like everybody else that comes here. And he's gone and disappeared. And right now, the situation has become more dire because now their rent is up, like the lease for the place that they're staying at is up, and they're about to get kicked out of their place. They have no place to stay. They have no food. They have no money for food. They have no money for anything. And they're relying honestly on the kindness of strangers at this point. Um, I know that there's never much that you can do, but if you guys are interested in helping out in any way, you can go to kabari.com, and kabari is spelled KABARI.com, and you can contact Bonnie or John Oy, and they can get you in touch on how you guys can help them out. And any little bit counts, honestly. Anything counts. If you can donate money, if you can donate food, that would be great. Um, this also hastened my video, I guess, because I also saw that 7-on-1 fight, um, where that high school kid was getting beat up on by 7 people. I just think that's so ridiculous. And I mean, initially I had heard that it was like Asian on Asian crime, and I was really enraged by that. I think that's absolutely horrible because it's so embarrassing. Come on, your parents taught you better than that. If nothing else, I know the Asian culture, and we stress the honor system. And how are you bringing honor to your family or yourself in any way by doing that? I was so disgusted by it. Um, and I think it's horrible. And I just want to say that, with violent crimes and with any of these crimes, whether they're violent or nonviolent, and you can see with the pilots, it's a nonviolent crime, right? It's just money. Yet you've devastated entire lives, entire families. So I guess, for people out there who've done this or who do this kind of horrible thing, just realize that in your mind you're telling yourself it's just one person, but it really isn't. For $30,000 for an Indonesian family, that's something that mom and dad has probably been saving up since that child was born. And that's so horrible that you could just take that away from somebody. And with violence, you take away somebody's life like that, and whole families' lives are ruined. So it's not just that one person. Another point I wanted to get into is a refugee situation right now with 72 refugees. I'm going to call them refugees at this point because of the way that the Indonesian government has reacted. I think their claims to be refugees at this point are valid. Perhaps before it was not, but now it certainly is. There are 72 people who came here sporadically between 1998 to now, and they were seeking asylums, stating that the Indonesian government has failed to protect them from violence in their homeland. And they don't feel safe, and they don't feel safe for their families, so they were seeking asylum. These 72 people went through the process and were denied by the United States government. When the Indonesian government and the Indonesian embassy was informed that these 72 people would not be granted asylums, a member of the Indonesian government came out on the news and basically said that if these 72 people were to be sent back to Indonesia, they would be immediately imprisoned. Okay, well, thank you, sir, for now making their claims for asylum valid. You've helped 72 people out a lot. I've had my contentions with the Indonesian government before. When I was younger with the 1998 riots, I felt very strongly about that. I was very disgusted by the behavior of the Indonesian government. And, as bad as things are here in America, or as bad as we'd like to say things are here in America, just remember there's always someplace else that's worse. And as of right now, I'm going to say it out loud. Indonesia is one of those places that's worse. And honestly, Indonesia is a beautiful country. Great food, great culture, and I love my Indonesian culture. And I love being Indonesian. But I'm not proud of our government. Our Indonesian government, continuously, time after time, decade after decade, fails to protect their citizens, and particularly their Chinese ethnic citizens. And I'm part Chinese, part Indonesian. I'm a little bit of both. So both sides are important to me. And my grandmother, who is ethnically Chinese, has lived in Indonesia her entire life, does not speak Chinese at all, speaks only Indonesian, eats only Indonesian food, only knows how to cook Indonesian food. She is, for all intents and purposes, Indonesian, and yet the government still treats her like a second-class citizen. But Indonesia wants to play games with the big boys, wants to call themselves, Bhinneka Tunggal Ika, all this stuff. It doesn't mean anything if you don't follow through. You know, you can sit here and call yourselves one as much as you want. If you still maintain a divide where you protect one member, one class of your citizens over another, you have failed. And you need to get your act together. Um, Sorry for the little passionate rant there, but I'm just really not okay with injustices like this. And you know, the Indonesian government has been outrageous a lot. And there are churches being burnt down, there are Muslim extremists, there are terrorists in Indonesia, the violence, you know, in the metropolitan cities of Jakarta and Bali and stuff, you're really not going to see this kind of stuff. When you go into the outskirts, when you go to Solo, when you go into those kinds of places, then you're going to really see this extremist culture that you know, preaches violence, and that's something that we need to pay attention to. And um, you know, the Indonesian government doesn't do anything about it. You know, it's almost a safe harbor for these people. And if there's anybody in the Indonesian government that doesn't like what I'm saying, please, I welcome you. Prove me wrong. I dare you. Show me something different for once. You know, um, I said it before. I said it again. The first step for me to take you seriously, for me to take the Indonesian government seriously, recognize the violence that occurred in 1998. Recognize the violence that was executed against the ethnic Chinese in Jakarta, in our major cities, and recognize that you, government, the Indonesian government, the Indonesian president, the Indonesian consulate, the embassies, all of you have failed to protect your citizens, because you have two sets of citizens here, and that's true. You have an ethnically Chinese set and an ethnically Indonesian set, and then you've got people like me who are both, all right? And you're leaving a large part of your citizens out. Eventually, you're going to get yourself another civil war, all right? Because we're not going to stand for it. You see what's happening in the Middle East? You really think you want to mess with the protesters? I don't think so. Okay, well, I'll turn on my sweet face again. I'm done with that. I'm done with my rant for this time at least. We'll see what gets my blood boiling next week. All right. Have a good weekend, guys. Be good to each other. And again, if you guys wanted to help any of these people out that are struggling, that are hurting, any little bit helps. Go ahead on to kabari.com and get in contact with their editors, and they'll help you out on how to help these people out. All right. Have a good one. Bye.